Hey! This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. JJ outdoing everybody in the studio here with the old suit on. You're fine.
Trying a new look here
I didn't
on
get the
YouTube
memo.
channel.
I didn't get the memo, but, it's fine. I guess I'll just be over here in my hat, my hoodie.
I'd rather be wearing what you're wearing, but
you were taking
Picture day here at
you were taking
KSL.
I was going to say you were taking some promotional photos. So that's good. Any word from downstairs of what the Olympics are going to look like down over there in Milan? You're not going to the Olympics over there.
I'm not, no.
Sam is?
Sam is, yeah.
Oh, wow. Does he speak Italian or?
He's been working on it.
No.
You'll have to ask him. He may appear on the show tomorrow.
You
might have to hit him up with Olympic questions. The Olympics are not far away.
In Italiano.
We're only 3 months away.
That's crazy. Milan, by the way, phenomenal place according to anybody who's ever been there.
Oh, I can't. I'm jealous, actually.
Northern Italy, the center of
Yes.
of fashion, probably only next to Paris, maybe even more so. Bonkers, and that's what I picture: is Sam going on basically a clothing tour, hitting up all the runways in Milan while the Milan.
I'm a model, you know what I mean.
What's it? It's Milan Cortina, right?
Turn on the catwalk.
is
Yeah.
I know
Milan Cortina. Yeah.
Milan Cortina. All right. Well, there you go.
And so Milan's so all the venues are way up in the Alps.
Yeah.
In northern Italy.
Yeah.
And but they're it's kind of like I don't know, saying the Olympics are in LA, but you have snowboarding up at like Bear Mountain or whatever that's called.
Oh, but even then, I feel like that's even closer than probably some of these other ones would be. It'd be like saying, "Hey, the Winter Olympics are in
Big
Los
Bear is what I was
Angeles."
thinking
Yeah,
of.
Big Bear. They're in Los Angeles, but then there's a couple of resorts like in you could take a
In Utah.
quick 2-hour flight to
The Olympics are in LA, but the
yeah.
skiing will be in Park City.
Hey, we would help you. You know what I mean? We
Sure,
would do
why
it.
not?
They did the thing in Paris where they were like, "Hey, the surfing." Didn't they have like the surfing stuff? It was like
In Hawaii.
straight up in Hawaii or straight up in like, Tahiti, like French adjacent places.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all good. All right. I'm trying to waste time on this because I just
Is your blood boiling?
don't know if I can bring myself to the next hour of sports radio for a minute. Listen, it's hard to watch this thing go down the way that it's going down. And I could be referring to anything at this point in terms of being pissed about some stuff here
Could
locally.
be the college football playoff rankings.
Could be
Could
the-
be the Utah Mammoth.
Excuse you. I told you not to bring them up today.
The Jazz fourth quarter.
Hey, but you know what? They played a hard game against.
For some Jazz fans, they're thrilled.
Oh, it was.
Hey, that's
it was,
how you do it in the fourth quarter, though. You play great
Like,
basketball
listen.
for 3 quarters.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that
That's how we keep that pick.
What did Keontae have points-wise? 34? 34? 33? And then and Lowry had 31?
How great has he been?
I'm
My
telling you.
Gosh.
It is.
Keontae's a revelation.
And here's what's great. If you were wondering if there's a bona fide 1 and 2, you're seeing it being born out in front of you, right?
34 points in 35 minutes.
So if Ace Bailey
Wow.
could turn into a superstar, just all you have to do is turn into a superstar overnight, Ace. Like you're already kind of partway there. The tools are there. What did Tim Lacombe say on our program yesterday? He is all-star caliber in terms of his raw talent right now.
Correct.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you watch him and you go, well, my goodness, why not have Keontae George be a guy who could make waves like that?
Imagine Walker Kessler, Lowry Markkanen, Ace Bailey,
This version of-
whoever they get in the 2026 NBA draft, AJ Devonsa, and Keontae George. That's a good starting 5. And then you got Bryce Sensabaugh and Isaiah Collier, who's been great, coming off the bench. That's a good basketball team.
I know AJ
It's
DeBonce.
just gonna get
Everybody
better.
wants AJ DeBonce. Everybody wants AJ DeBonce. I get it. But Cam
Boozer,
Boozer,
throw a Cam
that'd be
Boozer,
pretty-
throw
that'd be
Darren
pretty
Peterson
cool.
in.
That'd be pretty cool to have a second Booze. You know what I mean? Stop.
Memo!
Will you stop it with the negativity, Napolis? I don't need that right now. Napolis getting in our ear going, no.
I mean, do we need to do an if the playoffs started today segment?
Yes.
In the,
Yeah, if the seating happened today. What would Look, I'll do that. There's plenty of like online generated lotteries we could do as well. See if the Jazz win the lottery today. Why not?
They're still above that line.
Yeah.
They're at 10 still.
Oh, no. Oof.
How about the Clippers stinking so far? That's shocking.
And are the Pacers who were were they in the Eastern Conference Finals last year? Or they were in
a Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Sorry. And they're 1-16.
And 13.
1-13.
Yeah, they've lost 8 straight. Hey, the Wizards have lost 11 straight.
Gosh.
They know how to tank.
Yeah, we're not elite on the tanking stuff here in Salt Lake. We don't know how to do it. All right. Let's jump into the program, though. We do have some college football playoff rankings to nitpick and go back and forth on. Just the thing I wanted to do right off the bat here. Let's get it kicked off. It is the college football playoff rankings. It's the cut right here. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. TRAJANwealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. TrajanWealth.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about it. Let's talk about what this college football playoff ranking looks like compared to what we did yesterday. I have in front of me our yesterday guesses. I thought we did pretty darn good. And the depressing thoughts that we had of how some teams would be viewed weren't as bad as we thought that they were. And in some cases, we were exactly freaking right on what we thought the committee was going to do. So when it comes down to it, the CFP rankings, I don't know if you were shocked by anything at the very, very top. I don't think any of us would be.
No.
Were you shocked about anything up until about, I don't know, the 13, 14, 15 spot? We kind of knew what everything was going to be.
The only thing that shocked me, and you can go back and check what I thought would happen yesterday, I was shocked that Miami jumped ahead of Vanderbilt.
I did too.
The only thing I was surprised by, I didn't think Vanderbilt would I thought Vanderbilt would just move up naturally. They didn't do anything wrong during the week. Interesting that they vaulted Miami ahead of them. Based on what exactly, I don't know. Miami moving up 2 spots was odd. And you have to pay attention to that because there's some funny things going on in the teens. USC moving up 2 spots is a funny thing going on in the teens.
Yeah.
Because they got a game coming up against Oregon.
It's significant.
And if USC ends up 10-2 with a win over Oregon, they could leap ahead of BYU and Utah and get that third bid for the Big 12.
And they won't
be Big 10.
And they won't be in the conference championship game, which actually works out for them. If you're already a 2-loss team,
kind of the same thing Utah's staring at right now is Utah would actually be helped by not being in that game at this point because they're already in that position in case one of these teams loses. Now, if one of these teams don't lose, it's not going to matter anyway. Okay, they need help.
1, 2, 3, 4, exactly as we expected and predicted. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Georgia 4. Then we start to get into the rest of it. Texas Tech 5. Well, let me see here. Hold on. My computer went away. Yeah.
Ole Miss 6.
Ole Miss 6. Oregon 7. Oklahoma 8. Notre Dame 9. And Alabama 10, which is funny because you and I we were like, it's going to be that. And we weren't even really necessarily questioning whether or not it should be or not. We were just like, oh, yeah, it'll be Notre Dame 9 and Alabama 10. And part of the reason we thought that was, and a lot of people are like, yeah, but Alabama's 2 losses they're kind of on the same sort of plane, I guess, as Notre Dame's could be. But Alabama's resume is pimped so much when they talk about how great they are because of that 4 weeks in a row that they won against top 25 teams, which is funny because the committee loves to keep bringing up those 4 weeks in a row of playing really, really great. And then they kind of just gloss over the fact that you just lost at home. And I get it. It launched Oklahoma into a place that I don't think they even thought they were going to be at this point of the year, right? Alabama sits there at a place that would absolutely still be a place for them to get to if they keep winning. And they're not going to go to the SEC championship game, by the way. I don't think they will. They're going to keep winning, and something's going to happen to where Alabama is going to still be that 10 seed in the conference or in the college football playoff. So right now, the 2 odd teams out, the first teams out, are BYU and Utah, which is like a weird thing to look at, right? The graphic gets put up there, and both Utah and BYU fans who couldn't be further away from one another when it comes to – they're both looking at each other, and it's like, they're looking at that old James Franco meme where they're like, first time, huh? Like, we're both here hanging about to die, and you're getting disrespected. Is this your first time being disrespected at this, this high in the rankings this late in the year? The good news is there's still a lot left. There's still a lot of football left to be played. There's going to be some drama that plays out that we're not going to be able to necessarily predict. I think Texas going to 17, which we had them at 16, which I don't know, it wasn't that big of a drop compared to what we thought it was going to be. But Texas being at 17, I think, is not insignificant. I think it eliminates Texas totally. Even the third lost Texas, even if they were to beat Texas A&M, I think it actually eliminates them being at 17 right now. Now, I could be wrong. The rest of their schedule isn't really something to write home about, and they could definitely lose at home against Texas A&M, and that would be an embarrassing year for them, or 4 losses, and they were the number 1 team in the country starting off the year.
But I can't see them vaulting 7 spots if they win over Texas A&M,
and over the next 2 weeks.
Which is what would have to happen in order for Texas to get in the college football playoff. The top 10 teams essentially are going to get in, barring some kind of crazy Big 12 championship game upset or something like that, something we can't see. The top 10 teams on the college football playoff rankings will get in along with the ACC champion and the group of 5 champions.
So the thing about Miami that's interesting is to me, they could have just kept them at 15 or 14 or 13. It doesn't matter because it's a moot point because they're going to end up being probably the highest they're going to be the conference champion there, and they're just going to get a 4th highest ranked conference champion nod, and they'll get in. The reality is the ACC is garbage right now, and they're going to get a team in, and that's because they're going to have a conference championship that's going to determine that. And right now, everybody needs, and when I say everybody, the College Football Playoff Committee that is loving on Notre Dame so much, and like I said, if you don't think that this is them just putting together a reality TV show with the best possibility of ratings to go through the roof, that's exactly what they're doing.
Brands and blue bloods is what they're looking for.
So
it's
Miami,
a beauty pageant.
It's not even about Miami necessarily. Like, they'll get into the college football playoff if they win their conference championship. And it doesn't matter if they're at 16, 18. But
here's the problem for Miami. How are they getting in that game?
In the conference championship game?
Yes.
So if they win out, what happens? Do they need to have UVA?
They have 2 conference losses. They need help.
Okay.
They play Virginia Tech and Pitt. So Pitt is one of those 1-loss teams. But Georgia Tech has 1 loss, Virginia has 1 loss, and SMU has 1 loss. Georgia Tech only has 1 conference game remaining against Pitt. Their finale is against Georgia, a non-conference game. If Georgia Tech wins this weekend, they're one of the teams in.
Interesting.
Virginia, they have 1 loss. Do you know how else they have left? A bad Virginia Tech team. If they have 1 loss, they're the other team that's in. And there's nothing Miami can do about it.
You're right. And Miami.
SMU also has 1 loss.
So what
they finished with Louisville and Cal on the road, so they have a tougher road to get to that championship game. But you're looking basically, the percentages tell you that Georgia Tech and Virginia are the most likely teams to be in that game. Miami would not even get a chance to play for that championship. So it's interesting that they're the highest ranked team in the college football playoff.
They're 5th in their conference right now.
Exactly.
They're 5th in their conference.
So keep an eye on Miami.
Mm-hmm.
The committee seems to be looking at something there with Miami.
Well, the purpose that they currently serve is what?
Again, if it's a beauty pageant,
it's to
Miami
boost,
Hurricanes.
But it's also to boost Notre Dame. Like that's kind of what they're serving right now.
Yeah, that's another great observation.
It's like, hey, this is where we are. They're being put as number 13,
which is
in the
baloney.
Country. They're number 13 in the country, and they're 5th in their conference.
Because Miami does not deserve to be where they're at, in my opinion. And so I'm wondering why they moved them up 2 spots.
UVA, by the way, only has 1 game left, and it is that Virginia Tech game. Yeah, 1 game left.
I think Virginia and Georgia Tech are going to play for the ACC championship.
Okay. Now here's the thing: Georgia Tech still has to play Georgia. But that won't affect their conference record.
Correct.
Right?
It can only help the case.
And that's the thing that's interesting is that they went into their 8 overtime game last year. If they do the same thing against Georgia this year, if they even gave a game at all to Georgia, because last year I think was between the hedges, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're going to be playing in Atlanta this year. Now that doesn't mean that Georgia Tech's going to get anywhere near Georgia. I think Georgia's a better team this year than they were last year. They're kind of a mess last year. Georgia Tech, what do they have to do? But again, that Georgia game won't ding them from the conference perspective. They'll still be a 1-loss team.
So Georgia Tech is an interesting case,
Who do they have
right?
the rest of the way?
Great case. Well, so Georgia Tech, Who do they have the rest of the way?
Yeah.
I just mentioned it.
Georgia's one of them, but who's their conference team they have to play?
Pitt.
That's it.
This week.
So Pitt's a decent team, obviously.
Pitt at home, Georgia at home.
All right, so
Pitt is a decent team, but I think Georgia Tech wins that game.
The problem
at home.
is they have the potential to lose both of those games, which is what the committee is kind of crossing their fingers.
Here's the thing about Georgia Tech. So let's play out a scenario here. Okay? So Vanderbilt, let's say Vanderbilt loses to Tennessee in their season finale. So they drop out. So suddenly Georgia Tech is maybe USC. So let's say USC loses to Oregon, and there's no chaos in front of them. So Georgia Tech is at 15. Does a Georgia Tech win over Georgia vault them into the top 10? They would have a case. And with one loss and the chance to go to the conference championship game with a win over Georgia. So Georgia Tech suddenly becomes an interesting case. So keep an eye on Georgia Tech as well. And the fact that Miami is up there, I don't know how that really impacts things for Georgia Tech. It doesn't really because they didn't play each other. But it helps improve the value of the ACC, which in turn, as you say, improves the value of Notre Dame's schedule and resume. And it would also improve the resume of Georgia if Georgia is to beat Georgia Tech.
So how does this all shake out for Big 12? Because we've had a lot of hot ACC talk without really getting into the Big 12.
Let's get to it. What does this mean? BYU and Utah have to win the Big 12 championship to get in.
Either one of those teams, yeah.
I've come to that conclusion with where things are at. Neither school has an opportunity for a ranked win moving forward outside of that Big 12 championship game. And if they win that, they're in anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Mitch Harper, we were talking about this today because we're doing our 1st and 12 show tonight on KSL's radio, and he goes, look, how about the conference just goes full conference on it and goes, hey, Texas Tech, we'll pay you $7 million. Just sit this one out.
That'll give him one more defensive tackle next year.
Just sit this one out. We're going to have Utah and BYU play for the shot to get a conference championship, and then just watch. Will the committee keep an 11-1 Texas Tech team out of the conference championship or out of the college football playoff? No. Now that doesn't happen. That's not a thing.
They'll keep an 11-2 Texas Tech team out.
That's what I was. No, will they keep them out? Do you think Texas Tech doesn't make the college football playoff if they lose to BYU or Utah in the conference championship game?
I can see them dropping 6 spots. What did they just do to Texas for losing to Georgia? What did they do to BYU after they lost to Texas Tech? Where was BYU? 6. Where did they fall?
Yeah, to 12.
All the 12. That's 6 spots. Mm-hmm. What would happen to Tech at 5? It's down to 11, which is on the outside looking in.
Think about that. If Texas Tech were to lose in the conference championship game to either Utah or BYU, their losses would be against Arizona State without your quarterback at their place in a close one at the very end, and either to a single-digit ranked or like a top 10 BYU team or an almost top 10 Utah team.
If Utah or BYU gets to that point, which means they ran the table, they are absolutely a top 10 team at that point and would be in the college football playoff. So you're right. That would be Texas Tech's resume, and Red Raider Nation would have every right to be furious.
Yeah.
The Big 12 would have every right to be furious.
Right. So here's what
you got to get that 6th SEC team in, right?
Here's why I think that the Big 12 is in the predicament that they are in terms of what their optics are of the conference. And particularly about Utah, BYU, Texas Tech, and Arizona State. I'll throw them in there because they were in this conversation last year and they were in the college football playoff last year. I think last year's underperformance by SMU in the college football playoff, Boise State laying a freaking egg against Penn State, being the number 3 seeded team. They had no business being the 3 seeded team in the college football playoff. So Arizona State, even though they had a close game against Texas, whoop-de-freaking-do, they didn't win the game. Boise State got their butts handed to them. SMU got their butts handed to them. Okay? Those 3 teams, people look at and then they go, well, BYU is just some version of that. Well, Utah would just be a Big 12 team and be like that, those teams.
You know what sucks about
that? I think that they are getting dinged because of how poorly the teams that were the one Big 12 team, the ACC team that got in, that kind of snuck in with SMU, and Boise State being the group of 6 champion, group of 6, highest ranked champion. they look at them and they go, oh, you guys didn't even deserve to be in this spot. And I think that those things get dinged. I think people still have a hard time getting past BYU, thinking of them like a Power 4 team. Utah's done so much to be at the spot that they're at, and they've won Pac-12 championships in back-to-back years, and they have more respect, I think, than these other teams do. And you have to have that type of you have to have that kind of brand that people recognize you for. And right now, what SMU, ASU, and Boise State did last year, getting into the conference or into the college football playoff the way that they did, and then the way that they performed, I think people look at them and go, "Yeah, they're not serious."
I agree with you, but that's BS.
It sucks.
Let me give you an example of why that's BS. Who else got their butts handed to them in the playoff last year?
Indiana
And
Oregon. Yeah.
Tennessee.
Well, Oregon lost their first
And
game.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they got the bye, but yeah,
What's the difference between those teams and the teams you mentioned?
just means more.
The other teams come from the Big Ten or the SEC.
Yeah. Complicated, man.
They're the big money brands.
It's complicated. All these rankings are complicated. Here's the good news. You have 2 more weeks of football to be played before the conference championship games. And then the conference championship games, how are they going to treat those? How is the committee going to treat those? They'll look the other way when 2 teams that are ranked in the college football playoff are taking on one another, and they're, a highly ranked Georgia team taking on a highly ranked Texas A&M team. They go, well, we'll just ding them one spot. What a game.
Yeah.
What a year they've had. They're 11-1. They've had a great year. But if you're in the Big 12 and you're BYU and you get to the Big 12 championship game and you get to take on Texas Tech for the second time, and the only reason that they're saying that you shouldn't be in the college football playoff is because you got your butt kicked by Texas Tech. And so then if it's not a butt kicking, then what? And if your 2 losses are to a number 3 or number 4 ranked
You're
Texas
out.
Tech team, it's crazy.
They've made that clear right now. BYU at 9-1 is on the outside looking in. The second loss eliminates
Take them way out.
Doesn't matter how close it was. It doesn't matter how incredible the game is. They would be out. And that's how they want this to go. And, if we're playing devil's advocate, I can poke holes in BYU and Utah's resume. Where's Utah's top 25 win? What's BYU's metrics,
So they're praying for so right now, if you are Utah, you want ASU to keep winning, which would be it's kind of a hard thing to do.
For 2 reasons. One, they need to, in order to win that tiebreaker. So real quick, do we want to do this for another segment, or I'll do it real quick? Utah absolutely has to have Cincinnati beat BYU this week, because then that forces a 3 or 4-way tie for second with 2 losses. That's Utah's ticket in. Utah needs Arizona State and Cincinnati to win out, and then or Houston, and BYU has to lose that game to Cincinnati. So that Utah fans, you can absolutely cheer against BYU this weekend without any remorse, because you need BYU to lose bad. BYU can't win that game against Cincinnati, or it's basically over.
But they also need. Yeah, well, I'm trying to think too, because the rest of the way, Houston's ranked. That doesn't help either team. Arizona State being ranked, that is important for Utah.
Yeah, another thing to watch is Arizona could jump into the top 25.
That is, and that's where
that
BYU would be helpful.
But in the end of the day, does
enough.
This help BYU or Utah in any way? Because it's not like
they got to win.
It's not like Oklahoma's win over Alabama or Notre Dame's win over Miami and Texas and playing. Or sorry, they didn't even win. They didn't even beat Miami. They lost to Miami. Notre Dame's best win is USC. Again, funny how conspiracy theory. What 2 teams moved up 2 spots this week in the rankings? USC and Miami. Those are 2 situations that help Notre Dame's resume.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. I bet we'll be able to chat about this more going forward here, but let's take a break first. We'll come back and we'll talk about the Utah Mammoth. How things are going with those guys right now after their 3rd straight overtime loss, 3-2. Is that I feel like there's a record in there somewhere. No team has ever lost 3. Make it 4, and then maybe we've got something we've got to talk to the
3
universe
straight
about.
overtime losses. Come on now.
3-2. The score 3-2 every time. Don't worry. They'll keep this thing rolling, but you've got some baffling audio from Coach Bear Tourney as well afterward trying to explain what's going on with his team. I think we need explanations for sure. Stay with us, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Upstairs it goes. Sergachev, one-timer from Cooley, and he scores! Out of the slump and into the lead. Logan Cooley breaks a goalless drought and puts the Mammoth in front. It's 2-1, and the Ducks take it. Here they come up the ice. It's Killorn. Killorn lays it back. Seneca, back door. They score. Anaheim comes all the way back to win it in overtime.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Utah Mammoth right here on the KSL Sports Zone. JJ and Alex, thanks for being with us on the program. I'm glad we played that audio because you think about the comeback win that, well, I mean, list off. You had the Islanders 2 games ago, or 3 games ago, rather. And then you have a team fight its way all the way back down there at Anaheim, or well, I'm getting everybody mixed up. No, it was Anaheim. Yeah, obviously, coming right back and coming all the way back, going to overtime, getting the win against the team. Last night, Utah flipped the script on everybody, man. They were down 2-0.
Let's make it more difficult.
They brought it all the way back again.
They were lifeless for 2 periods. Like right out of the gate, boom!
Yeah.
Celebrini, boom, boom.
Yeah.
A breakaway, bad hockey.
Bad hockey. Okay, so I was having a hard time last night because it was just like the team ended up, and then they get it together for the second period to keep it scoreless, but opportunities were waning for them. I mean, they just didn't have very many shots on goal. And then J.J. Peterka plays the part of hero a little bit in regulation and gets those 2 goals in the third period and looked phenomenal. Like, those are the 2 things where you go. And it did make me wonder, though, why he's on that third line. And that was a question I asked one of my friends last night. I go, why on earth is he staying on the third line? Why do they do this? And I was like, yeah, he's too good to be with that group. And I get the idea of, hey, let's have some goal scoring like on every line. But you got to have a matchup. You got to have people who match up with one another. And it feels like J.J. Peterka's on the wrong line, right? I mean, it just feels like, and again, scoring twice last night, maybe that proves me wrong, except for the fact that J.J. Peterka and the guys who are on these first and second lines, J.J. Peterka right now is playing some great hockey. Did a phenomenal job last night. They get to 2-2, and they get into overtime, and another bad mistake, this time too many men on the ice, which is just not something that needs to happen at this level ever. That's why it's an easy call, too. Like, they made the call, and it was like, dude, what?
Yeah, it's one of those, what are you doing? It's like a football team not getting a play in time in a crucial moment.
Calling a timeout,
drill.
Calling a timeout, coming out of the timeout, and having a delay of game.
Yes,
it is.
It's the equivalent of that. Like,
it is
what
bad.
are you doing? And then you got a penalty, and that's it. It's already 3-on-3 hockey, and then you're gonna give them another guy. It's a death sentence, and that's exactly what happened. It was just a matter of time before Macklin Celebrini rockets a shot past the goalie, and he's got a hat trick, and San Jose's celebrating a big win, and Utah's sitting there throwing the gloves in the air again.
Well, and you put yourself to a spot where you are. So you go a man down. You go a man down in overtime when there's already only 3 minutes left in overtime, and you give 2 minutes of freebie hockey, basically. And it just felt like you already knew what direction this thing was going. And, yeah, they scored within the first, 38 seconds or 40 seconds of the power play. And, look, we're watching a guy in Macklin Celebrini who's, for all intents and purposes, going to be one of these superstars in the league.
He's 19.
I mean, we're watching a guy. It's fun to be able to watch.
He was the best player on the ice, no question.
Yeah.
19 years old.
19 years old. What was frustrating about it was hearing after the game. How are you going to spin this if you're this coaching staff? And Bear Tourney after the game was asked about it. He's trying to be positive. I get it. But this was not, I think, the answer that people wanted to hear. Here's what he said after the game about this result.
Yeah, I think it's 5 points in the last 4 games, but we're undefeated in regulation in the last 4. Let's put it that way. Let's put it in the positive. But no, we need to find a way. Like I said, I think that will be like that. We need to get used to it. It will be a one-shot game. The league is really good. Everybody's really tight. So let's find a way to get a little bit better, just 5% better.
It's the type of explanation, JJ, that you give your T-ball team to sort of give them a semblance of hope. I'm not trying to be mean.
Oh, it's total spin.
It is very weird to say we're undefeated in regulation in the last 4 games. Ask the teams who lost in overtime in college football this year if they're undefeated in regulation. Is Arizona undefeated against BYU this year in regulation? You see you see how weird it sounds?
Yeah, it's
like to say
silly.
we're undefeated in regulation is a very, very strange thing to say. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't bring any solace to your team. They go, what does that even mean? Like, I get it. You get a point for going to overtime. You get a point to go in overtime. And if they had won the previous 2 games in overtime that they should have won, or won them in regulation, and then if they were to force that overtime the way that they did with the heroics of J.J. Peterka, and then still lose in overtime, but they had won the previous 2 games that they should have won, you would have gone, you know what, though? Great fight on the road, and to be able to get it back and to get to overtime and to get that point is great. But no one is going to believe that you say, hey, we're actually undefeated in regulation the past 4 games. That's a very strange spin. I don't think it's good for the team to be able to think that way, and it's a bit of a struggle. It's annoying to hear if you're a fan. It's annoying to hear somebody say, hey, we're undefeated in regulation. There's no sport where that is a thing. There is no sport where that's a thing. Hockey gives you an overtime lost point, right? You can have a draw in soccer at the end of regulation. And you can do this whole they're undefeated in the past 7 games. And you go, yeah, but 3 of them were ties, and then everybody goes, don't talk about that. In hockey, there's no such thing as being undefeated in regulation. That's not a thing. And so to explain it like this is hard to hear. And frankly, when we talked to Coach Bear Tourney this week, I think it's a conversation we could have of, but really, what is the thing that's missing? It has felt like effort has been lacking over the stretch of these games.
Focus
has been lacking. When your captain isn't off the ice on time, it's freaking wild.
You can't hold a team from scoring in the final 20 seconds. When you're in the wrong positions in that circumstance, when there was a timeout.
It feels like every game. And it doesn't help that the score has been the exact same score in overtime, all losses in games.
3-2 losses, yes.
And in games that you could have won, and at some point you looked at
2
it and
of those
went,
3 games, you blew leads.
Okay. So
here's another troubling thing.
The frustration is through the dadgum roof.
Okay. Another negative thing. Sorry. We got to talk about this. This team's offense isn't good right now. In 7 of their last 10 games, they failed to score more than 2 goals. 7 of their last 10. And in the 3, 2 of those 3 were just 3 goals. They scored 3 goals in Toronto. They scored 3 goals in Edmonton. They scored 5 against the Sabres at home. But remember, that was a big flurry that they were losing that game.
Yeah.
So ever since they won and finished that win streak against the Winnipeg Jets, this team has been struggling offensively. And I don't understand it. Even in a win over the Sabres, they only had 2 goals.
Yeah. It doesn't help, and we talked about this with Cole yesterday, it just doesn't help when the team signs the most lucrative deal in the history of the club for a guy, and then he's absent. And Cooley has been not so good. And Gunther has been hopefully turning a little bit of a corner. Keller has been kind of not present at all. And as the captain of the team, I think the one guy you see kind of busting their butt out there is Sergachev, and even he has made a couple of mistakes here and there. But again, it's
the effort you're seeing is from guys like Kyler Yamamoto.
Isn't that funny? Somebody, I think in the TV broadcast, was like, that might be your best forward right now if you're Utah. And I was like, yikes. That's not what you want to hear.
Based on effort, yes.
Bull.
But he should not be outplaying.
That's what I'm saying. That's not where you need to be.
Your top-line highest scored players. Those guys have got to wake up and snap out of this. I know they're young, but
don't you tell these guys,
when
hey,
much is given, much is required.
Don't you tell these guys,
step
hey,
up.
JJ's on the first line, and you guys need to come play down here for a minute. Like, I don't know if that's how it works in hockey. Honestly, I don't know if you get, quote-unquote, demoted to the next line or if they just kind of try some things out. Your time on the ice is important either way, and they tend to mix it up, and you tend to have guys who will have that 18 to 20 minutes on ice kind of number. And if they're doing it on the second line, fine. If they're doing it on the third line, fine. But don't you want to get a guy don't you want to kick somebody right in the tail and go, you're a freaking pro, play like it? It's tough. It's tough to watch because I think that we're looking at this thing and going, all right, let's see something out of this team. So now what are you going to do? And I said this the other day, it's hard to watch other teams building chemistry, watching their superstars get good on the backs of your guys struggling, right? A 19-year-old Celebrini, awesome. He's the future of hockey, right? He's doing what number one overall picks do, right? You at least hope. And to be doing it on the backs of a Utah team that is struggling right now is hard to watch after an 8-2 start to the season. All right.
And they still have 9 of their next 16 on the road.
Yeah, that's tough. They're 25th in the league on the road in record, and then they're like 4th in the league.
They've got to get through mid-December.
Come on,
with their head above water here, or this season's gonna get lost.
All right. Well, maybe Bear won't even take our call tomorrow at this point. Hey, could you go ahead and secure that? Make sure we have the time down for that one tomorrow. All right, we have to ask the questions. That's why we're here, right? All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go on the program. When we return, we got ourselves a Would You Rather, and then we'll get you to the 4 o'clock hour. We got more college football to talk about, and Bill Bender's going to join us. Love having Bill on. He's going to give us some ideas on what the rest of the college football playoff is set up to be based off of how things are being ranked as they are. Stay with us, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program, everybody. Thanks for participating in the show. Thanks for looking in on us on the YouTube channel as well, KSL Sports on the web. JJ's wearing a suit, and I'm not. There you go. There's the long and short of it.
Well, I finally learned I didn't know we were on YouTube.
Yeah, you did.
Up.
Yeah, you did. How dare you? All right, let's kick off a Would You Rather here. Before we do, though, want to make sure that everybody is aware that, by the way, by way of announcement, Hanson and Scotty are going to be at RGS Exteriors tomorrow. RGS Exteriors, noon to 3, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. There you go, RGS Exteriors. Sorry, that's Friday. My bad. What's tomorrow? Thursday? So Football Friday out at RGS. There you go. Let me see here. Who would you rather be right now in the college football playoff? Would you rather be USC or would you rather be Miami? Or would you rather be Georgia Tech? Or would you rather be Virginia?
I would not want to be an ACC team.
I know you wouldn't, except for the teams that I just mentioned are ones that like actually have a better shot than even Miami of getting
the only team in there
game
that has a chance for a big win in the last 2 weeks is USC. So I would rather be USC because if you beat Oregon, you have an excellent chance to replace them as the third Big Ten team in the college football playoff. Where's that game being played? I believe it's at Autzen. Let me look real quick.
It's at Oregon.
It is at Autzen. Yes.
That's this weekend.
It is this weekend. 1:30 p.m. on CBS.
It's an old Pac-10 matchup.
It's too soon.
That count?
It should be. Imagine how good the Pac-12 would be this year.
I just can't wait in the future when they go. And Pac-12 champions, like we've seen in the past, like your great Utah State teams and your great USC teams in Washington. and Fresno State. These are teams that represent the Pac-12 well. You're like some of the former greats, like
someday they're going to say
Washington,
Pac-12 champion Colorado State. And you're going to be so confused.
What would be the more like whiplashy of a moment for you? You're like sitting there coming out of the time machine. Oh, who won the Pac-12 this year? Colorado State. What? Or who won the Big Ten this year? Cal. Who won the ACC this year? Cal. Who?
Stanford winning the ACC would blow my mind 10 years ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Explain
You'd be
that
like,
to me.
excuse you?
How? What?
The Stanford
Especially
Durham, North
Stanford
Carolina
was
branch?
So good.
The Stanford Durham,
Remember
North Carolina
how good
branch?
Stanford football was a decade ago?
Like 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Jeez.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. When we return, guess what we have? Bill Bender's going to join us, college football writer for Sporting News. He jumps in. This is a guy who lives in the Midwest too. So we're going to get a Midwest version of kind of how things are, because I think they get a good shakeout out there. They get a good version of this. But of course, they do their weekly college football brackets based off of the rankings, and they also based off of what they think should be happening. But we'll talk with Bill Bender next and see what kind of a shot a second Big 12 team has of getting into the college football playoff. Stay with us, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.